The college student I met in Iowa who works the night shift after a full day of class and still can't pay the medical bills for a sister who's ill. She can't afford 4 more years of a health care plan that only takes care of the healthy and the wealthy, that allows insurance companies to discriminate and deny coverage to those Americans who need it most. She needs us to stand up to those insurance companies and pass a plan that lowers every family's premiums and gives every uninsured American the same kind of coverage that members of Congress gives themselves. That's why I'm running for President of the United States of America. The mother in Wisconsin who gave me a bracelet inscribed with the name of the son she lost in Iraq. The families who pray for their loved ones to come home, the heroes on their 3rd and 4th and 5th tour of duty, they can't afford 4 more years of a war that should have never been authorized and should have never been waged. They can't afford 4 more years of our veterans returning to broken down barracks and substandard care, and they don't want to see homeless veterans on the streets. They don't want to see veterans waiting years to get disability payments or having to travel for hours and miles just to get treatment. They need us to end a war that isn't making us safer. They need us to treat them with the care and respect they deserve. That's why I'm running for president. The man I met in Pennsylvania who lost his job but can't even afford the gas to drive around and look for a new one. He can't afford 4 more years of an energy policy written by the oil companies and for the oil companies. A policy that's not only keeping gas at record prices, but funding both sides of the war on terror and destroying our planet. He doesn't need 4 more years of Washington policies that sound good but don't solve the problem. He needs us to take a permanent holiday from our addiction from oil by making the automakers raise their fuel standards, corporations pay for their pollution, and oil companies invest their record profits in a clean energy future. That's the change we need. That's why I'm running for President of the United States of America. The people that I've met in small towns and big cities across this country understand that government can't solve all our problems, and we don't expect it to. We believe in hard work. We believe in personal responsibility and self-reliance. But we also believe that we have a larger responsibility to one another as Americans. That America is a place, that America is the place where you can make it if you try. That no matter how much money you start with or where you come from or who your parents are, opportunity is yours if you're willing to reach for it and work for it. It's the idea that while there are few guarantees in life, you should be able to count on a job that pays the bills. Health care for when you need it, a pension when you retire, an education for your children that will allow them to fulfill their God-given potential. That's the America we believe in. That's the America that we know. This is the country that gave my grandfather a chance to go to college on the GI Bill when he came home from World War II. A country that gave him and my grandmother the chance to buy their first home with a loan from the FHA. This is the country that made it possible for my mother, a single parent who had to go on food stamps at one point, to send my sister and me to the best schools in the country on scholarships. This is the country that allowed my father-in-law, a shift worker, a city worker at a water filtration plant in Chicago, to provide for his wife and 2 children on a single salary. Now, this is a man who was diagnosed at the age of 30 with multiple sclerosis, who relied on a walker to get himself to work, and yet every day he went and he labored, and he sent my wife and her brother to one of the best colleges in the nation. And when he talked about his job, he expressed that it was important not just because it gave him a paycheck, but because it described his dignity, his self-worth, his self-respect. It was an America that didn't just reward wealth, but it rewarded work and the workers who created it. That's the America I love. That's the America you love. That's the America that we are fighting for in this election. Somewhere along the line, between all the bickering and the influence peddling and the game playing of the last few decades, Washington and Wall Street have lost touch with these core values, these American values. And while I honor John McCain's service to his country, his ideas for America are out of touch with these core values. His plans for the future of continuing a war that has not made us safer, of continuing George Bush's economic policies that he claims have made great progress, these are nothing more than the failed policies of the past. His plan to win in November appears to come from the very same playbook that his side has used time after time in election after election. Yes, we know what's coming. I'm not naive. We've already seen it. The same names and labels they always pin on everyone who doesn't agree with all their ideas. The same efforts to distract us from the issues that affect our lives by pouncing on every gaffe and association and fake controversy in the hopes that the media will play along. The attempts to play on our fears and exploit our differences, to turn us against each other for political gain, to slice and dice this country into red states and blue states, blue collar and white collar, white, black, brown, young, old, rich, poor. This is the race we expect, no matter whether it's myself or Senator Clinton who is the nominee. The question then is not what kind of campaign they will run, it's what kind of campaign we will run. It's what we will do to make this year different. You see, I didn't get into this race thinking that I could avoid this kind of politics, but I am running for president because this is the time to end it. We will end it this time not because I'm perfect. I think we know at this phase of the campaign that I am not. We will end it not by duplicating the same tactics and the same strategies as the other side, because that will lead us down the same path of polarization and of gridlock. We will end it by telling the truth.